Welcome everyone to Solar Oregon's Understanding Home Solar Financing Workshop. My name is Abigail Jager. I'm a program manager with Solar Oregon. This is the first edition of a new reoccurring workshop. We are starting on understanding your home solar financing options. The goal of this workshop is to arm you as consumer with the information you need to know to make good informed choices about solar and energy storage. We're going to cover a lot of different topics today. First, we will review solar and storage basics. This will be a shortened recap, but if you have more questions from this section, be sure to check out our How to Go Solar and Storage workshop that is delivered monthly. You can sign up for that on our Eventbrite page, and also find a recording on our YouTube page. Next, we will look at the common costs and explain the reasons why the costs of your solar system may vary depending on the solar quotes you receive, and we'll see an example budget for a solar and storage system. Then we will discuss incentives and financing that can help make solar more affordable, and we'll review the many ways you can purchase or finance solar and key considerations to remember when looking at financing options. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please put them into the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen. As I said, Solar Oregon, I'm from a program manager with Solar Oregon. Solar Oregon is a 501c3 nonprofit that has worked to encourage solar and storage adoption throughout Oregon since 1979. We do this by providing reliable and impartial consumer education, such as this workshop, working to build the clean energy community, and performing outreach and some policy advocacy. You can check out upcoming events on our website, solaroregon.org, and on our Eventbrite page. This workshop is also made possible by support from Energy Trust of Oregon. Energy Trust of Oregon is an independent nonprofit established in 2002 that provides resources to help enable customers of the investor-owned utilities in our state to use energy efficiently and gain access to renewable energy. They offer key incentives for solar installation and battery storage, and coordinate a network of solar trade allies to help offer these incentives and lower the price of solar for you, the consumer. We'll talk more about the solar trade allies later in the presentation, but want to thank Energy Trust for their continued support. Now we're going to jump into the main presentation, and we'll start by recapping some of the solar basics before we focus on solar financing. And again, if you have more questions about this section of the workshop, be sure to check out our How to Go Solar and Storage workshop. So this is a diagram of a typical grid-tied solar system. Grid-tied means you are connected to the local utility grid. You can see the house in the middle of the diagram and the photovoltaic or PV or solar panel over on the top left. When sunlight strikes the solar panels, it produces a voltage of electricity. The volt of electricity that is created is a special type of electricity called DC, or direct current electricity. From the solar panel, the volt of electricity flows into a special device called an inverter or microinverter, which converts the DC electricity to usable AC electricity for your home. From there, it then flows to your home electric panel to power your lights, charge your computer, and do everything we need power for. If at any point in time your solar panels are generating more power than your home needs, the excess power will flow out to your new bidirectional utility meter that tracks both the power flowing into your home from the utility grid and out to the grid from your friends and neighbors. So when your solar panels are generating more than you need, such as if you're at work or out in the middle of the day or it's nice and sunny out, that power will be utilized by your friends and neighbors. And then that bidirectional utility meter will also allow you to pull power from the grid when your solar panels are not able to fully cover the amount of power you need, such as at night when there's not as much sun or really any sun at all. This is called a grid-tied system, as you are still connected to the utility grid. The alternative would be an off-grid system where you have no utility grid backup. We're going to talk about lots of pieces of this in more depth in the coming slides, but this is really all there is to a solar system. It's pretty simple, and one of the many reasons why solar is so low maintenance. Now, regardless of your location in the state, the orientation of your roof has a big impact on your solar access. This diagram shows a home and its orientation with respect to the cardinal directions. The arcs over the home show the path of the sun in the summer and the winter. Regardless of the season, the sun will always be in the southern sky. This means that south-facing roofs are ideal for solar. However, both west and east-facing roofs can work great. In cloudier parts of the state, roofs facing due east are slightly less effective. This is because clouds tend to persist through the early morning, blocking some of that solar. The only roof planes that consistently don't get installed on are north, northwest, and northeast facing. Solar is highly modular and customizable, and residential solar systems vary widely in size. System size is measured in a unit called kW, or kilowatts, and the average residential size in Oregon is around 8 kilowatts. But what determines your system size? By far, the biggest constraint is how much electricity you consume. This is because, as mentioned earlier, net metering credits, which is the system that allows you to save power on your utility bill, do not roll over from year to year. This means you get the most value out of your solar panels if your solar system is designed to meet but not exceed your estimated annual consumption. Your solar contractor will typically ask you to see some past electric bills and discuss with you any planned lifestyle changes, such as upgrading appliances or anyone moving in and out of your home, in order to try and predict your expected electricity usage. Other factors that can limit your system size are available roof space, budget, or limitations placed by an HOA or condo association. Now, I've mentioned net metering a little bit. I'm going to go into it more depth now. Net metering is the process that helps solar save you money by helping you earn credits for that power you are exporting to the grid to be used by your friends and neighbors. We're going to illustrate how net metering works by walking through two examples, a typical sunny summer month and a typical cloudy winter month. The graph on the left shows us what's happening in a summer month. The orange bar shows how much electricity you've produced with your solar panels, and the blue bar shows how much you've used with all your lights, appliances, and outlets. Because you produced more than you've consumed, this is a month you're exporting electricity. The green arrow shows the difference, which is your net metering credit earned. The graph on the right shows a typical winter month, when you're using a similar amount of electricity, producing far less with your solar. The red arrow shows the amount of electricity you'll need to purchase from the grid. With net metering, the credits you earn during the sunny summer months offset the electricity you purchase in the cloudy winter months. While your net metering credits roll over from month to month, it's important to note that it does not roll over from year to year. The net metering year begins in April. This allows you to build up credits during the sunny months and use them all in the winter. Any excess credits you have in March when the net metering year ends are donated to the grid to low-income consumers, and you will not be compensated for those credits. So now let's look at what this typically looks like in practice. Here is what your monthly electricity bill might look like when you are net metering with solar. This is an example from a PGE customer, but a Pacific Power bill would look very similar, and we're going to walk through some of the details here. In the box in the center of the screen, you can see the period for which you are being billed, the reading on your bidirectional meter at the beginning of the month, and the reading at the end of the month. Thanks to your new bidirectional utility meter, the electricity you import from the grid is recorded separately from what you export. You can see the total amount of electricity coming into your home this month was negative 327 kilowatt hours. This means you exported more than you pulled from the grid and have now gained 327 kilowatt hours of credit that you can use later. Because you are a net exporter this month, your billable kilowatt hours is 0. You may be surprised to find that your bill, though, is not 0. This is because your utility connection comes with a base charge. This is what all utility customers pay to maintain the grid. There are also some taxes and fees that can increase your bill a few dollars. Compared with the average Oregon utility bill, though, of about $100, this is a great deal. This is an example of the savings you'll receive on your electricity bill each month for the useful lifetime of your solar system. And compared to the rest of the country, the Pacific Northwest has cheap grid electricity due to our abundant hydroelectric dams. However, electricity prices are still increasing steadily at about 2 to 6% per year. So when you get a solar system, many people think they will be able to use power when the grid is down because they're able to generate their own electricity. However, the ability to disconnect your home from the grid and what is called islanding, is only possible if you have a battery. The ability to use power when the grid is down is called energy resilience. Solar and battery storage are complementary technologies. Solar makes the battery more effective by recharging it if it is sunny out, and your battery allows you to access your solar energy during an outage. Now, it's very important to set your expectations properly about what a battery can do and what it can't do. Even if you don't use much electricity, a single battery will almost never back up your entire home for a meaningful period of time. However, you can do what is called a partial home backup. In this scenario, certain circuits in your home will receive power from the battery, but the rest of your home will lose power during an outage. If you're able and willing to front the extra cost, multiple batteries can allow you to achieve a whole home backup. However, this process can be prohibitively expensive and may still not be able to back up your entire home for a meaningful length of time. The battery system sizing process will entail a detailed conversation with your contractor, balancing your desired functionality with your budget. A great way to think about this process is the trade-off between the two questions: what needs power and for how long? Items most frequently chosen to back up include a refrigerator to keep food from spoiling, some lights in common areas, and a couple outlets to be able to recharge a laptop or cell phone. When reviewing your solar system quote, you should review what is included in your system price. Some items that should be included are all equipment, but not limited to the panels themselves, inverters, a monitoring system, racking equipment, wiring. And once you know your base inclusions, you want to then ask about any additional add-ons that your contractor is recommending, or what ones they merely have as an option so that you can know all your choices. Examples may include a critter guard, advanced weatherization, or any other non-mandatory items. You also will want to check if any items come with continued costs, such as subscription fees. This can be common with some monitoring systems. You also want to review the estimated installation time and labor costs. It is important to keep in mind installation time can vary depending on permitting, material availability, and system design. And remember to review what warranties are included and what they cover. Consider if a maintenance plan is included in the quote and if there are any maintenance costs to maintain your system. Solar is low maintenance, but not no maintenance. When comparing different solar quotes, you're going to want to know the difference in how much power your system is producing. Some simple metrics you can use to compare are how many watts of capacity are in your system, calculating the cost per watt of your system by dividing your total system price by the total number of watts, and what the solar production estimate for both peak summer and winter, and what is the estimated yearly solar production or the kilowatt hours per year. And you want to know, again, if there are any additional charges. We want to make sure you don't get caught unaware by any of those. Now we're going to look at a sample solar quote in just a minute, but prices for solar can vary widely. Some reasons that costs can vary can depend on the size of the system, if you're needing to re-roof your home, if you're needing to complete any structural analysis or structural reinforcement, and any electrical upgrades you may need. The cost of battery storage can depend heavily on if you're installing solar and storage at the same time or afterward, how far you're installing a battery system from your electric panel, if you're creating an essential loads panel, and how many batteries you are installing. In addition, the availability of incentives can change and impact both the cost of solar and storage. So please keep all of this in mind as we walk through an example quote. So here's an example solar quote for an 8 kilowatt solar system and an 8 kilowatt and paired with a 13.5 kilowatt hour storage system. We can see that the base cost for a solar system is $32,000 and the base cost for a solar plus storage system is $52,000. Assuming you're in PGE or Pacific Power territory and working with an Energy Trust Trade Ally contractor, you can then claim the Energy Trust incentive of $2,500 for a solar system or up to $7,500 for a solar plus storage system. That brings your total out-of-pocket cost for an 8 kilowatt solar system to $29,500 and for a solar and storage system to $44,500. Now we're going to look at some of the incentives that exist for solar and battery storage and discuss possible financing. So as I already mentioned, there are those energy trust incentives. Your energy trust incentive depends on the size of your system and your electric utility. Energy Trust Standard Solar Incentive is a flat $2,500 for installed solar for both Portland General Electric and Pacific Power customers, and $400 per kilowatt hour up to $5,000 for PGE customers getting a home battery system, and $288 per kilowatt hour up to 3,600 for Pacific Power customers. In order to claim these incentives, the only thing you as a consumer have to do is work with an Energy Trust Trade Ally contractor. Energy Trust Trade Ally contractors have been rigorously vetted by Energy Trust of Oregon to offer you these incentives and are familiar with all Energy Trust design and installation requirements. They will complete all paperwork for you to receive these incentives, and you will just see the discount on your final bill. The availability of these incentives varies and are subject to funding availability with current policies. You should check with your provider if they are not PGE or Pacific Power to see if they offer any similar incentives. Beyond the standard incentive, Energy Trust also offers an income qualified incentive. Energy Trust of Oregon Solar Within Reach incentive is a dollar per watt incentive that allows PGE and Pacific Power customers to further reduce their installation costs. It functions very similarly to the standard incentive in that you need to work with a trade ally contractor. However, you also need to prove income eligibility. The current annual income maximums are currently on the screen, and you can also scan the QR code to see what the incentive rates currently are and see if you qualify. Due to large upfront costs, solar financing is very common. Financing options may be directly included. The image currently on the screen is an example of a financing option offered by a solar contractor. That's great and likely due to the installer having a direct relationship with a financing company. If this is the case, it's important to pay attention to the payment structure of your plan. How much is the monthly payment and how much interest are you paying through your payment structure? You want to be sure to ask what happens if you miss a payment and what is the process if you're selling your home, and pay close attention to the timelines for payments and any additional fees. It's important to remember that even if your installer has a preferred lender, it is still a good idea to get quotes from a separate institution in order to compare. Other quotes may be missing some details, and you want to be sure to compare to be sure you are making the best decision for you and your family. Also, be sure to be aware of potential scams. Some lenders may focus heavily on remotorized loans, right? That is taking into account the solar federal tax credit that is no longer available. So be sure to read the fine print carefully. Now, before we look at more financing options, here are some things to keep in mind when reviewing options. The interest rate and term. Longer terms means lower monthly payments, but more total interest paid, delaying your savings break-even point. You also want to watch out for upfront lender fees, closing costs, and potential prepayment penalties if you want to pay off early. You want to be aware of the total cost versus savings and calculate the total loan cost of principal plus interest plus fees versus the estimated electric bill savings over time. You also want to be aware of scams promising free solar. Beware of free panels, as it usually means a lease or a power purchase agreement with potential long-term costs or escalator clauses. You want to be sure to read everything, understanding cancellations, rights and responsibilities, and performance guarantees. You want to also ensure the contract guarantees a certain energy output with penalties if it falls short. You also want to be sure to check if your HOA or mortgage company allows solar installations and if a UCC lien on your system or home is involved. You also want to be sure to understand your roof warranty. Solar panels generally don't automatically void your new roof warranty in Oregon, but improper installation can void it. So you want to be sure you're working with a reputable contractor and have double checked the fine print within your roof warranty as well, as it may be impacted. These are all helpful reminders for any homeowners looking to go solar. Some solar installers may offer financing options. If you have access to other financing through your bank or credit union, you'll want to compare all your financing options to ensure you are getting the best rates for you. We recommend getting at least 3 quotes for all financing. Some homeowners obtain a loan through a bank for which they have a pre-existing relationship, but some banks do not provide a loan product specifically tailored to solar. Your contractor may also partner with a credit union or third-party broker that offers a loan tailored towards solar. And you want to be sure to remember that interest payments on your loan will not qualify for any solar tax credits that you may be able to qualify for. And as with any major financial decision, make sure you carefully assess your financing options. Solar can be less expensive than you think with the incentives available. So now there are a few different types of loans you will want to be aware of. The first is a home equity loan, or HELOC. This uses your home equity as collateral, offering a lower fixed interest rate and lump sum payments or a line of credit, HELOC. This is a secured loan, but it comes with some risk as it puts your home at risk of foreclosure if payments are missed. There are also some solar-specific loans offered by banks, credit unions, or installers that typically have no collateral but higher rates, up to 20 to 22%. They can be secured or unsecured loans depending on your lender and borrower. Secured loans will use your home or panels as collateral for lower rates, while unsecured ones rely on credit but often have higher rates and fees, though many common installer facilitated loans are unsecured. In some cases, you may also be able to use a personal loan, which is a standard bank loan that can be used for solar and often unsecured. No home lien, no foreclosure risk, but often some higher interest cost. When looking at loans, you want to be sure to ask, what is the interest rate? Are there any deeder fees? If there's an early payoff penalty, whether the loan is fixed or variable, how many times can you rematurize the loan? What are the refinancing options, and who services the loan? In addition to offering the solar incentives, Energy Trust recently launched Smart E-Loans in partnership with Solar Trade Allies and Inclusive Prosperity Capital, a 501(c)(3) clean energy financing platform. ETO Smart E-Loans can be used to install solar plus battery storage paired with a qualifying solar system, and an electric vehicle charger paired with a solar and/or storage system, and some enabling upgrades up to 25% of the loan amount. Here are some of the benefits of the Smart E-loans. They are very transparent with a clearly stated interest rate and without any other hidden fees. There are no fee or prepayment penalties. It is an unsecured loan. Low FICO credit scores as low as 580 are accepted. It has flexible terms of 5, 7, 10, 12, and up to 20 years. Rates as low as 6.99%. An easy application process. And with Smart E, there is a skip-a-pay option and flexibility if you contact them. The reach of the Smart E lending program is currently limited to PGE and Pacific Power territories. But be sure to talk with your local bank or credit union if they offer anything similar. Another option for solar systems is third-party ownership. Third-party ownership, or TPO, means a separate company installs, owns, and maintains the solar system on your property, where you benefit from lower electricity costs through a power purchase agreement without the upfront costs of the solar system. The provider handles maintenance and gets any incentives, while you pay them for the energy generated, typically at a rate below the utility prices. For solar lease, you pay a fixed monthly option to rent the equipment fixed on your roof, regardless of how much power it generates. And lastly, a power purchase agreement is, like I said, where a third party puts the solar on your roof while you purchase the power back from them, typically for 15 to 25 years, allowing you to get solar without much upfront cost, though you don't own the system. When it comes to finding reputable solar financing, many financial smarts still apply. Solar financing can often be tied to the solar contractor, so make sure you're working with a reputable contractor is important. And even if your solar contractor has a financing partner, it's still a good idea to do your own research and get quotes from other contractors to compare. Be wary of any lender that guarantees approval before checking your credit, or ask to send money before securing a loan. If a lender seems suspicious, or for these or other reasons, you may check their background with the Better Business Bureau or the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Beware of lenders who tout frequent scams, such as free solar or claiming that re-roofing costs can be included. No matter what your reason for taking out a personal loan, it's important to have a repayment plan before you apply. Consider these questions. Do you have a stable income? Are you confident your income will remain consistent in the coming months or years? Do you have existing loans you're already prepaying, and if so, will you be able to manage the new debt? And do you have a backup plan to continue making payments were the unexpected to happen? Now, if you rent or if solar isn't an option for you right now, you can subscribe to a community solar project and get credits on your electric bill through the Oregon Community Solar Program. Income qualified customers get discounted rates and guaranteed bill savings. Community Energy Project partners with low-income communities on the front lines of climate change to create more resilient, efficient, and healthy homes. CEP connects income qualified customers to the program, and you can also find information for both low income and non-low income participants on the Oregon Community Solar Program website or on Community Energy Project's website. Now, with all this information, how can you get started? As I said, besides offering those incentives and the Smart E-loans, Energy Trust also has a certification program for contractors to help ensure a high quality of workmanship. The Energy Trust Trade Allied contractors are rigorously vetted, highly rated, and are the only contractors who can offer you the Energy Trust of Oregon's solar plus storage incentives. We highly recommend working with a Trade Allied contractor and getting at least 3 quotes to help you compare. If you're ready to get some quotes today, you can scan the QR code on the screen to be sent to the Energy Trust of Oregon solar bid tool, which will allow you to get bids from up to 3 contractors who work in your area. Thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you have a great rest of your afternoon.